Hey, it's Gordon Cockerpunk here again. I got another myth here. Me and Bryce are kind of getting known as the Mythbusters, and I'm okay with that because I watch the show, love the show. It's a great show. Very entertaining. Not a lot of engineering, not a lot of science, but still very entertaining. Anyway, so we're kind of becoming the paintball Mythbusters, and this is a myth that came up with the last myth we busted, which was the distance test that all guns shoot the same distance if they have the same feet per second, essentially. And so that kind of ties into this next one, which is do low blow bolts or backspin bolts actually create backspin, which would change the course of the ball, because we obviously know that flat lines and apexes, they do work. I mean, backspin is a proven principle that works in paintball. So we're going to see if low blow or backspin bolts actually do what they're supposed to do. So I got some diagrams here to explain the physics to you, and I got my bolts over there, and we'll get to it. So, alright, so the last test we did, let's organize all these diagrams. Okay, the last test we did involved these two diagrams here. Paintball in the barrel, paintball out of the barrel. These are what we call physics engineering students. You all know these are free body diagrams. So in the barrel we have a paintball, right? And we have the force of the air pushing it forward. That's the largest force impacting on it, obviously. This is the force of gravity. It's pretty small, it's constant. We all know gravity. This would be the force of the barrel in the positive and negative y directions. That would be, you know, obviously if you were overboring like a mofo, like a lot of people do, those forces would be very little, if anything, until the ball actually impacted the side, yada yada. Anyway, so those two are kind of variable, and keep in mind this is a three-dimensional thing, so if we look at it this way, the force of the barrel can be on this side, or this side, or this side, or this side, or this, any side. It's a circle. So, force of acceleration, though, is always in this direction, and gravity is always in that direction. So, those are the forces acting on it in the barrel. Now, so F equals ma means that the force is equal to the mass, which is constant, times the acceleration, which in paintball terms, the acceleration is going to be damn near constant, because we all shoot barrels that have between 3 to 8 inches of control bore before the porting, which means that's where the primary acceleration is going to happen. So the acceleration is going to be constant, so the force on the ball is going to be relatively constant between every gun. But that doesn't matter anyway, because as soon as the ball leaves the barrel right here, the air obviously dissipates. There's no barrel forces, but now we have a new force of drag, and gravity. So once we leave the barrel, which this is where we chronograph the gun at 300 feet per second, so after all this has taken place, then we have this, and then we have this. Like, this is, the initial conditions are the same angle, the same velocity, right? And the same initial conditions, same mass, same shape. So the drag force is going to be the same, and gravity is always the same. So they're all going to fly the same distance, right? That's what the last test proved. So now we're going to go into these backspin bolt things. Alright, so what happens here is when this is a normal bolt, open-faced or venturi or whatever you want to, whatever kind of bolt you have. So this would be the path for a spool valve. This is the path for a poppet valve. The dotted lines indicate internal dimensions. So the open-face bolt and ball situation has the force of the barrel, obviously, force of gravity, same old, same old. This is while the ball is technically, actually, this gap is only here so I can draw this. The ball is actually against the bolt, like perfectly against the bolt. And so it actually almost creates a seal against the bolt, in which case we have a distributed force of air, of the air coming out either here or here, and it's going to distribute itself close to even. I mean, that's probably an ideal assumption, but close to evenly across the back of the ball, which is going to push the ball down the barrel, just like this. We can take, any of you guys know this is how you mark a distributed force. You can always just take the center of that times the magnitude of them all, and you get a discrete force like that. But you can take my word for that. So, there's no spin created by an open-face bolt. TK proved this, yada yada. So, we have a backspin bolt now, okay? Now, I've only seen backspin bolts for, would you focus? Backspin bolts for poppet valve guns. So, we have the force of air here. So, this is the low blow air, backspin air, whatever. We have the same forces, the barrel, gravity on the ball. Again, the ball is pushed up, sealed against the bolt. So now we have this low blow air, which, you know, if anybody knows what's going on, here's some Tef tape. What happens is when I push on this just straight this way, it will just translate, right? But if I push on down here, it will rotate and translate, okay? So what we're thinking is that this guy is going to rotate and fly down here, and that spin, which would be theoretically the same as a flat line, would create more distance, right? So that's the myth. This is my hypothesis, is that it's not going to happen. Backspin bolt ball. This is where the ball is away from the bolt, okay? So now in blue here, I have the fluid streamlines, so the air is going to come out through here, and then, you know, the definition of pressure says that the air is going to try to equalize, so it's going to push out in all directions, right? And even back into the bolt. That's what causes blowback. So the air is going to be distributed across the back of the ball, just the same as it was here, right? Maybe a little wider, but it'll be the same. So, well, theoretically. So, when we apply, or when we do our same little transformation from a distributed force to a discrete force, that turns into a force right here, which is just going to translate the ball. So, the question is, the big question, and that's the question whether low blow bolts work or not, is that spin, this initial spin, here, let me grab it, this is going to be relatively instantaneous. Is that going to impart enough spin on it to, first off, change the course of the ball? Because we know we need a lot of spin to change the course of a ball majorly, in any major way. So we know we need a lot of spin. The second thing is, if that spin can survive, because in the barrel there's going to be friction along the sides. Now obviously we're going to try tight paint-to-barrel match, open paint-to-barrel match. I got a couple of kits we'll try out, and we're going to see if we can do this. I'm honestly befuddled as to what's going to happen. I have my theories, but this is something I don't think anybody's done yet, so I'm excited. Alright, so now to the exact testing parameters. We're going to bust out either this guy, or Bryce has a couple of snipers, also known as pump cockers, which doesn't make any sense, because in my opinion it should be an automated sniper, would be an auto-cocker, but that's just me. I got a few different cocker bolts here. This is just a stock open face bolt, so we'll see how it shoots at 300 feet per second or 265 or whatever we decide with an open face bolt, which should give us that nice distributed force across the back. I also got this guy. This is an ANS Delrin. I hope I can get, okay. Alright, that works. So you can see I have plugged up a bunch of the Venturi ports. Sorry, I'm really trying to get this into focus. Plugged up a bunch of the Venturi ports with epoxy. So that's going to be one of our low blow bolts. I just did that with this one as well. It's a metal bolt, but I just plugged, it's less though, I plugged less on this one. So theoretically this one should give us more backspin than this one, because it's going to be tighter and it's going to be more off center. I also have in the works right now a side spin bolt, because if we're playing with bolts and ruining some auto-cocker bolts, then I really want to make a side spin bolt, see if I can shoot around corners and stuff too. So we'll stick them on an auto-cocker here, or a sniper, and we'll see what happens. So that's the test. Should be interesting. Hope you're tuning in, and yeah, signing off here. Gordon, Cocker Punk, same guy. Alright, you guys have a good one. See ya.